The mob has plans. The cops have plans. You know, they're schemers. Schemers trying to control their little worlds. I'm not a schemer. I try to show the schemers how pathetic their attempts to control things really are.
In the webcast, but we begin today with a major new security initiative that is designed to make it even harder for both terrorists and illegal immigrants to obtain false identification papers. It involves a government-issued ID card that may cause enormous headaches for ordinary Americans and is already being criticized by privacy advocates. Here to discuss the details of the program, our senior justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas. Pierre, this is something that's going to affect all of us, I gather. What is the program?
Charlie, as you said, for millions of Americans, it's going to be a lot more stressful to get your driver's license renewed. And we're talking about that the states are going to have to approve, your Social Security information. They're going to have to prove that you are who you say you are. And also, the states are going to have to verify this information by checking various databases. Now, we spoke to Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff today, and he was pretty adamant that this is a matter of national security.
We are now over 6 years from 9/11. We live every day with the problems of false identification. Simply kicking this problem down the road year after year after year for further discussion and further debate and further analysis is a time-tested Washington way of smothering any proposal with process. I think the time has come to bite the bullet and get the kind of secure identification that I am convinced the American public wants to have.
Charlie, now, Secretary Chertoff said he knows there are a lot of complaints, but he says he's going forward no matter what.
Now, is this going to be a separate identity card that we're going to have to carry, or will your driver's license, if you drive, serve as this identity card?
That's exactly right, Charlie. The driver's license that you get at your local DMV is going to serve as the identity card. But again, that card is going to have some security features in it, and it's also going to have to be the job of the state to prove that you are a U.S. citizen or have legal status.
Now, Pierre, there's already ample evidence that people who shouldn't have them can get American passports. So is this more about Homeland Security, or is it more about immigration?
I think it's a combination of both. They don't want terrorists to be able to get on board planes. They kept pointing today to the fact that the 9/11 hijackers all had multiple state driver's licenses, but they also admit that this will make it much more difficult, they believe, for illegal immigrants to move freely throughout society.
And I gather there are privacy concerns, a lot of privacy concerns on some people's parts.
In fact, a lot of people are saying that this might be another way that you can have your identity stolen. We spoke to Michael Greenberger today, who is a University of Maryland professor.
A key question is that the states are going to have to create massive databases, use massive databases, and are these databases going to be secure? The track record on the security of these databases is not good. They are hacked into on a regular basis.
So, Charlie, expect a fight between the states, the feds, and also privacy activists.
All right, yes, the states will have to pay for this, I gather, to issue these cards. All right, Pierre Thomas, thanks very much. Something that will affect everyone, not for a few years, but will eventually affect.
The company has now implanted 2 workers with microchips to monitor their movements, causing some to charge invasion of privacy. The company says it's merely a layer of security beyond key cards and clearance codes. If I don't get one of those soon. Well, joining me now is Lance Ulanoff, editor-in-chief of PC Magazine. Lance, this sounds like some freaky science fiction book. Tell us what this is about. These 2 workers have microchips?
Right. Well, this is very, very real, and these microchips are about the size of a grain of rice. They get injected into your skin. They have a computer chip, a transceiver, and basically they can talk to an electromagnetic reading device, and this can allow you to open doors, access databases, and these devices, RFID is what this is called, is really starting to permeate our lives.
Haven't these been used in dogs?
Yes, they've been used in dogs, and only a handful of humans. I think people are a lot more comfortable tracking the dogs who tend to run away. Humans, it's a little bit different. People, they know, and they feel like maybe their privacy is being invaded.
Yeah, well, and obviously these 2 employees agreed to get these microchips implanted. So what Any side effects? Can you have it taken out anytime?
Well, one, there are no apparent side effects because this is a medical grade capsule, but apparently it's not too easy to remove. And once it's in there, I'm sure, it scars over or whatever. And you also, just by the way, it's not like you could walk through the middle of the street and somebody could detect you. These tend to be what's called near field communication. So you have to be relatively close to the reader for it to have any sort of action. That's why it's useful in a workplace when you want to, say, access a database or a certain room. You're brushing your arm across the reader.
So this is very localized, is what you're saying.
Yes.
So if somebody doesn't want their employer to know what they're up to in their off hours or where they're going,
that's right,
the employer really can't.
Right. Also because those other places won't have readers. There, by the way, is no GPS within this, so it's not like they can find you. But I'm not saying that in the future you won't have a chip or something you're wearing that will do all of those things, including global positioning.
So I'm assuming that these two employees do this because they don't have to carry their card keys around.
Right. Absolutely. I don't know how many times I've left my home and forgotten my own card, and I wish I had some way of waving my palm over it. I even know of somebody who did this on his own, who actually went ahead and found, talked to a company and had them put the chip in his palm so he could brush it over his computer and access it.
I can't see ever really wanting to get to that point. What about invasion of privacy, though? You said this isn't a GPS, but that we're going in that direction with these little microchips.
Right. Well, you have to balance the benefits with the other issues. I mean, obviously, this is going to make paying easier. When you have a credit card, you have those sort of near-field chips on them. You brush it across and you've paid. So imagine no card, you just pay with your hands. Imagine that you're lost and someone can find you, or you can't speak and you're in the hospital and the doctor waves a reader over your palm or your arm and knows your entire medical history. So great if you really need it, but obviously the flip side is that now someone could brush something over you and know your entire medical history, which may not be something you want.
Yeah, there's a real creepy factor here. I got to tell you, I can't imagine that the government isn't already using this with employees in highly sensitive areas where there's a lot of intel.
Right. I mean, obviously, this is a way, once it's in, hard to get out, very important information that people don't. One, you can stop people from accessing what you don't want them to do. Two, you can have a record of what they've done. So now you can build a database of activity within an office, within a government facility, and that's obviously going to be critical for learning if something has leaked.
Okay, Lance Ulanoff, thanks so much.
Pleasure.
Interesting.
And if you're late for work, we can find you.
Yeah.
All right, there is breaking news in Atlanta. We have new information now from police. Our Fox Bureau in Atlanta telling us now that
se coloca de esta forma.
Se supone que ya aquí secuestraron a esta persona. Él presionó su botón.
Avenida Zaragoza. Tengo una persona en 198 está teniendo una emergencia.
Antes solamente era un secuestro por cuestiones económicas. Y estábamos hablando de que antes se secuestraban a personas clave, a personas reconocidas, a industriales, a ganaderos.
3-4 todavía. Eso traía, ¿verdad? Ay, cabrón. Viene. Problema en nuestra familia, oiga, no le vayan a... y se chingan.
Qué bueno, cabrón, hay gente toda aquí.
Ver esto.
Señor,
pero
todavía, perdóname.
Ya lo pago.
There is new technology out designed to tighten security and speed the flow of traffic on the country's northern border. It's called Radio Frequency Identification Technology, or RFID. And it was introduced in Buffalo yesterday. The device has sensors inside that read a chip embedded in passport cards, enhanced driver's licenses, and Nexus cards. By simply driving past a sensor, border agents can gather the information of everyone inside a car before they even get to the booth. Everyone will be required to have an enhanced driver's license, passport card, or passport to cross the Canadian border starting in June of next year.
Their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're schemers. Schemers trying to control their little worlds. I'm not a schemer. I want it. I want my phone call.